Nikon plans to announce 4 full-frame Cine lenses over the next 6 months. Are we getting primes, zooms, a documentary-style zoom lens, or a combination of the lot? We'll tell you what our source said, along with which lenses we expect Nikon to announce. Click subscribe and we'll get right to it. It means more to us than those early spring flowers do after a cold, long, dark winter. Hi, I'm Simon, your trusty retro lens-toting camera nerd who scans the news and rumor sites, patent applications, and forums so that you don't have to, saving you time to enjoy a cup of coffee while you offload your content. A trusted known source said Nikon will be releasing 4 new cinema lenses within the next 6 months at most for Nikon ZR customers. Nikon is focused on cinema and red. We might not see any non-cinema stuff for several months. Sadly, Nikon didn't provide us with a roadmap when they announced the Nikon ZR, but they did tease. Nikon and Red will meet a wide range of needs in film production with an extensive lineup of cinema-oriented products under the Z Cinema series. Ooh, I do like the sound of that. With Nikon's focus on building up their cinema line, adding to the Nikon ZR ecosystem, we can expect some primes and zooms. Nikon also said, I would like to officially announce that Nikon is developing a range of Cine lenses in a variety of focal lengths. Then at IBC, talking about T-point cinema lenses, we'd like to make an official announcement right here. Nikon is now developing Nikkor cinema lenses. They're under development right now, so it's going to take some time until they launch. We've done extensive research with Red to understand the needs of the cinema industry, but we've already begun development. So yeah, look forward to it. Nikon, of course, is working on a roadmap, and part of that roadmap, I can bet you anything, they've got a 24mm, a 35mm, maybe a T1.5 for both of those, and a T1.3 for, let's say, a 50 and an 85mm. Because, well, these are essential primes for narrative work and commercial work with natural spacing, fast T-stops, match mechanics, and of course, lightweight. Nikon is unlikely to release all of these at once, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we see at least 2 of these. But I don't expect all 4 to come at once. That would be a dream. The 35mm T1.3 is the most versatile daily driver on full frame, wide enough to handle documentary, gimbal work, and establishing shots for small interiors, but natural for dialogue and walk and talks. They have minimal distortion versus the 24, cleaner faces, and T1.5 buys you low light plus, well, shadow depth of field without huge size and weight, and without a huge price. Next, I'd expect an 85mm, perhaps, well, maybe a T1.5. It is the hero for portrait and interviews. The extra speed at T1.3, though, it does deliver standout separation, creamy, I was going to say something else, creamy bokeh, and tender close-ups that sell the system. For narrative coverage, it pairs perfectly with a 35mm for that classic two-lens storytelling. Wide scene on 35, emotional coverage on 85. But do you remember this quote here? Nikon and Red will meet a wide range of needs in film production with an extensive lineup of cinema-oriented products under the Z Cinema series. Nikon's first Z Cinema camera is just right around that $2,000 price point. And you're probably aware, but this is very cheap for this price point. It's not uncommon to pay multiples of that just in tax alone. Very, very cheap for a cinema camera. Now, Nikon could play with the T-stop to keep the prices down so that things could be, well, a little bit slower in terms of the T-stop. But what about zooms? I'd really like to see the Nikon Red team start off with a 20 to 50mm, let's say a T2.4, and a 45 to 135mm. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. I'd love to see a T2.4 as well, but who am I kidding? Anything that's going to be a T2.4 at those zooms, well, that will cost not only well over $10,000, but likely a good portion over $20,000 as well. So until Nikon releases a more expensive companion to the Nikon ZR, Nikon is going to aim at the more affordable primes and zoom, at least to start off with. The Nikon ZR is part of a new line of Nikon Red cameras, and they're going to be priced right. Think of Canon's Flex Zoom template. constant T, matched build, parfocal behavior, minimal breathing, and unified color. Together, they span wide, establishing through tight coverage without swapping primes for every take. For documentary, for fast-moving commercial work, the duo is, well, the money. Why am I suggesting these lenses out of the vast array currently available on other platforms? Well, one, it mirrors how Canon, Sigma, and Sony built trust. Ship the core full-frame primes, then 2 fast zoom kits. Then round it out with a wide zoom. 2, rental economics. Those sets slot right into existing kits and workflows. And 3, marketing logic. T-stop Cine glass with unified mechanics and color science is a stronger headline than video-friendly photo lenses. Nikon doesn't need to reinvent cinema glass on day one. They just need to meet the playbooks that crews already trust. If they nail the mechanics, parfocal behavior, minimal breathing, constant T-stops, matching gearing and color, well, they'll have a legitimate Z cinema ecosystem right off the start, day one, and do so extremely fast. So what kind of prices can we expect to pay? If the 35mm is a T1.3, we can expect to pay around $4,000 and $4,500 for the 85mm if it's a T1.5. As I said earlier, if Nikon and Red play with those T-stops a little bit, they can significantly drop that price, but we have to go a little bit slower. And the zooms? Well, we're looking at somewhere around 22 grand for the zooms based on a T2.4. Nikon went low on the ZR, half the price of the competition, the C50, and what Sony was offering in the FX line. It around, what, $2,100 for the Nikon ZR? Really good value there. So I'd expect sub 3 grand for the primes, and the 20 to 50mm, the 45 to 135, well, I'm having trouble seeing them for under $10,000. So am I missing something here? Is Nikon and Red working on something to drop the price while also perhaps maybe making them a little bit slower? Now, one thing that Nikon and Red might be doing here, they might plan on releasing a couple of affordable primes and do so for around 2 grand to 3 grand. And I think that is very plausible based on what we see in the marketplace today, based on engineering, based on the way things are done in patent applications. But when it comes to those zooms, a 45 to 135, the 20 to 50, Canon just released a 20 to 50 recently, and I think they were looking at around $30,000, $33,000 for that lens. It depends. What Nikon might be doing here is saying, okay, you've got the affordable ones, but we want to show you what we can really do here. And if you're buying the Nikon ZR, you might look at those and say, that's out of my reach. But what I'd expect Nikon to do is to follow up. I'd expect them to follow up with a camera that sits above the Nikon ZR. Now, what could that be? Where would it sit? Would it compete against the FX3, the R5c, or would it go a little bit higher, like the Sony Burano? But that's the way I see it based on the information that my source provided me. Up to 4 lenses in 6 months, or within 6 months, that's pretty bold. What are your picks? What would you like to see for the Nikon ZR in terms of primes and zooms? And what sort of T-stop would you like to see? And a big thanks to my sources on this one. This video and this channel would not be where it is without your support. And if you've actually got some information to share with our viewers, then please email me at simondyates@gmail.com. And if you are interested in ordering any of the gear that I talked about in this video, like the Nikon ZR, the lenses are not available right now, then please consider using my affiliate links down below for Adorama and B&H in the United States, Wex Photo and Video in the United Kingdom, and Photocall in Europe. Thank you so much for your help. For each purchase, I get a small commission back, helping to keep the lights on, the key light, the fill light. Yeah, that's right. That's the key light. That's the fill light. It's very much appreciated, and it helps me avoid those minute-long, multi-minute-long Squarespace and VPN sponsorships. I'm not into that. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon, most likely tomorrow. Cheers. Bye-bye now.